Hello, today we're going to talk about Africa government. Alright, first we're going to talk about the different types of government. Some of these can be found in Africa. There's a lot of countries in Africa, as we found out. So the first one we're going to talk about is a unitary system. This is where the central government holds the power. Local and regional government, they have local and regional government offices, but they're under the umbrella of the central government. All right. The UK has something like this. It's called Parliament. All right. Federalism shares power between the central government and the states. Right. So the U.S. is a federalist republic. That's the biggest example. The government can the government can negotiate treaties, but like the state of Georgia is not going to negotiate a treaty with Mexico or with Germany. No, the U.S. government's going to do that. But the state government controls, makes driving laws and speed limits and stuff like that for individual states. All right, so that's what they take care of. And that's federalism. All right, Confederation. You have a weak central government. This was what America originally had under the Articles of Confederation. They had a very, very weak national government, and the states had all the power, and that's didn't work very well. The central government couldn't even tax the different states. So the states wanted all the power because they didn't want it to be like it was over in Britain. So they gave states power, made a weak national government, but they eventually fixed it with the Constitution. So the Articles of Confederation was a failure, but that's what the United States originally was. An oligarchy is a government in which a small group has control and power. I think this is what Georgia originally was. It was called a trustee thing. There was a group of people that ran everything. The citizens had not a lot of say in it. So that's what an oligarchy is a small group. And an autocracy, that one, is where one person possesses unlimited power and citizens have a limited role in government. The other one, I didn't want to write it up here, is a democracy, and that's a government where supreme power is vested in the people and exercised by them directly or indirectly through a system of representations involving free elections. So we have a democracy here in the U.S. All right, now we're going to talk about Africa's resources. So in Africa, there's not much water supply in certain areas. So some people have to walk up to 5 hours to get water every day. They usually get it from small ponds. Some people can get it from wells, but they walk 5 miles and they have to carry these clay jars and other items that can weigh up to 35 pounds. They have to carry those back and forth. That's a lot every day. And because of the scarcity of water and people having to do this, it's the reason why a lot of kids don't get education because they spend most of their day having to get water. And that's a big issue. I mean, what do? You go get water and survive and help your family, or you go to school and learn something. I mean, it's not a big choice when it comes to survival, what you're gonna do. So this prevents children from going to school and women from getting jobs because they're always having to go get water. Life in Africa, so the Sahel Desert area. There's 40 million people there. They have extreme weather, so it goes from flooding to drought. nomads live in this area. Some people have to continue moving locations. They move from oasis to oasis, and then they fight. That's why the nomads are a very violent group, because they're always fighting for resources. Hardships in Africa. So in Africa, and we've talked about this before, and I've talked about this during Zoom meetings and stuff like that. America is very lucky that how we've come up. I mean, the Civil War only lasted a little bit, but some of these countries have been in Civil War for a long time. Europe didn't come in and meddle with us constantly. Once Britain left, I mean, you had very little because we were so far away. So America's been very lucky to thrive and be how it is. A lot of these African countries have not had that, and because of that, because of the political unrest, the lack of natural resources, and extreme weather, it makes it very hard in some places to live in Africa. All right, and the last thing we're going to talk about is Kenya, South Africa, and Sudan. So in Kenya, it's a self-governing from Britain since '63. It has become a democracy with a bicameral legislature, which we'll talk about, which you should know what that is. It means there's two. There's a House and a Senate, which is what we have in the United States and what we actually have here in Georgia. There's 40, it was in 8 provinces, but then they split that up into 47 counties, which are known as districts of Kenya, and they have a unitary system, which means the central government holds the power. And the people have some say, but not a lot. So South Africa, in '94, an oligarchy controlled by white leaders of the apartheid was a legal separation of races. We talked about that before. It's a group of white people that made basically racism legal, and made all the laws to where they benefit white people and nobody else. Now this ended in '94, and they set up now it's a democracy as a political party with most members. So how it's set up is people are elected into the National Assembly. The people that are in the National Assembly pick the president. So whatever party is in charge of the National Assembly, they'll get whoever they want in. So the people actually don't vote for the president or whoever's in charge. They only vote for the members of like our Congress, and then the Congress would select it from that. Now again, I'm going off a lesson for this. If it's wrong, I apologize. But I'm just going off of the information I was given. So even though the apartheid, and I've heard of it before, I don't know much about it besides what I've read here. Even though it ended, it still left a lot of damage, and it's still challenging for the black people of the country of South Africa to get wealthy. So that hurts half the population. And then the last one is in Sudan. So in 2003, there's open warfare in Darfur region of Sudan. Sudan Liberation Movement. It was the Sudan Liberation Movement and the Justice and Equality Movement. They attacked the military. They wanted to end the region's enduring economic and political they wanted political rights from the government, is basically what they wanted. South Sudan became its own, it was recognized as its own nation, I believe. But most of the oil was in South Sudan, so they're trying to, when this was written, there's still a discrepancy over who gets most of the money from the oil, even though it's mostly in South Sudan. Oil is a very, very big thing. All right, this has been a very brief explanation of African government. Hope it helped. Good luck.